What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, we're still playing a little bit of catch up here, and usually we're covering some indie comics. We're still going to get to those. I might release them on Monday, but for this video, we're going to be jumping into Justice League Last Ride, issue number 1. Now, this is a story written by Chip Zdarsky, and what we're seeing in this story is that the Justice League, they've split up. The Holy Trinity is no longer. Now, the pencils are by Miguel Mendoza, and inks are the same. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we jump into this issue, we're getting narration from Lois Lane. And as she's giving us narration, we're going through a lot of the conquests this Superman has conquered in his time on Earth. You know, and Lois tells us that it's never ending. But this is something that they've always known. But lately she can tell that Superman, he is feeling it. She can see it in his eyes and how he's tense moment for moment, waiting for the next disaster, waiting for the next crisis. Now, right now, Superman, he's kind of going through it. He's having a hard time. You know, the Justice League has been disbanded at this point. And Lois knows that Clark, he's not going to stop. He's going to continue to go out there and do it because he thinks that he's the only one that can do it, that can protect Earth. He feels like he's carrying the weight on his shoulders. And Lois, she just wants to help him in any way possible. But Clark, he swears to her. He swears that he's okay. Now, Lois, she can tell that this is a lie. But Clark, he doesn't want to put the weight on her shoulders as well. You know, right now he's trying to bear it all. But Lois, she just lets him know that she is there for him. And this is where the two, they go to bed and they drift into sleep. And this is where we see Superman. Superman in a dream. Now this dream, it's really trying to send him a message. Because in this dream, he's back in Metropolis. And the top of the Daily Planet is coming down on top of Jimmy Olsen. Now Superman, he rushes in. He rushes in to save the day, grabbing the world and holding it up. And as Jimmy gets away, Superman realizes that it is filled with kryptonite. Now Jimmy runs off to try to save a kid, and no one is there. No one's there for Superman. And so this is a metaphor for right now how he's feeling so alone. He's feeling like he has no one to have his back. He's holding the weight of the world on his shoulders, and it is crushing him. It is crushing him as strong as kryptonite would. But this is when Superman wakes from his nightmare. He wakes and he finds himself floating above his bed. Lois wakes up. She wakes up a little bit concerned, but Clark tells her that everything's okay, that it was just a bad nightmare. And this is when he hears a beeping, and he makes his way through the fortress. Going up to a little chest, he opens it up, and he sees that it's the Justice League beacon. It's calling to him, letting him know that somebody at Justice League headquarters is calling a meeting, is asking for help. And that's where we pick up at the Justice League Watchtower. Now, inside the Justice League Watchtower, we have Wonder Woman and the Flash. And currently, they're waiting on the rest of the Justice League. They're hoping that the rest of them come. Now, the Flash, he's a little bit concerned. He's concerned that they're not going to show up. But Wonder Woman, she has no concerns, because if there's anybody's life in danger, both of them are going to come, because they can't help themselves but to try to help people. And this is when we see the arrival of Superman. And so right now it seems like the bad blood is really between Batman and Superman. They have some kind of difference. While the Flash says it's kind of childish, when Superman arrives, he disagrees with that. He disagrees, and he would say that it's not childish in the least. And with the arrival of Superman, this is when Batman makes his entrance. And they kind of just completely ignore each other. They ignore each other and they all go take their seats. And this is where we see Batman, he straight up just starts taking charge. He starts asking what the situation is, and the Flash, he lets us know that no one really knows yet. Everybody is waiting on John Stewart because he is the one that called this meeting. But before this meeting can really get kicked underway, this is where we see Superman step in. And he tells Batman, like, no, not this time. This isn't going to be like old times. You're not going to just walk in here and you're not just going to take the lead. Not after what you did. And we see these two really close to confrontation. And Wonder Woman, she breaks it up. She breaks it up and lets them know that she didn't come here to babysit. She came here to help some people. And this is where John Stewart interrupts and lets us know that they're making their way into the docking bay. And he asks that they meet them there. Now, the reason they're asking to meet in the docking bay is because they didn't want a certain individual being able to get any kind of access to the Watchtower, because that individual is none other than Lobo. And this is where we see Kilowog, Jessica Cruz, and John Stewart. And they have done it. They have done the impossible. They have caught the most wanted man in the universe. The man who killed the new gods. But they brought him here because they need the Justice League to be able to keep Lobo alive. Because as it stands, the United Planets, they plan to put Lobo on trial. Not only for the murder of the old gods, but of a whole list, a litany of other crimes. And so they need to make sure that Lobo faces justice. And so that means protecting him against every single enemy that Lobo has ever had, and that would come after him. Now, this is where the Flash chimes in, and he asks them, why can't the Corps protect him? Why can't they keep him safe until the trial? And this is where we see Hal Jordan come flying in. Now, Hal, he lets us know that they need the Justice League, because at some point, the Green Lantern Corps fell, and right now they are currently small in numbers. They don't have the numbers to be able to protect Lobo. And this is where Batman chimes in, and he lets Hal know, I don't believe you. And of course Batman doesn't believe him. He wouldn't be Batman if he didn't believe him. Because Batman knows that the United Planets would give him whatever he needed to be able to protect Lobo. This is specific to the Justice League, and Batman wants to know why. And so Hal Jordan, he explains. He explains that he's rebuilding the Lantern Corps, but they've lost most of their jurisdiction, most of it to the United Planets, ever since some kind of unknown crisis event. And so this is his kind of way of showing not only can the Justice League protect Lobo, but he wants to be able to make this the new OA, the new home base of the new Green Lantern Corps. Now he wants to station this on the moon. And Hal puts this to us in the simplest way possible. He lets us know that the universe has seen Earth time and time again as the home of justice. If they can get the Justice League together and protect Lobo all the way until the trial, it will prove to everybody that this would be the natural heart of the new Green Lantern Corps. And in doing this, they wouldn't need a Justice League anymore, because this would be home base to Green Lanterns. And so they had the ultimate protection of all time. Now, it's an idea most of them are pondering, except for Batman. Of course, Batman, his immediate response is a simple no. To him, this is all politics, cosmic politics, that he doesn't want to be a part of. Because currently, he has people that need help protecting in the city of Gotham. And Hal Jordan lets him know that they need him. They need him for his strategic mind. It's taken him days to figure out where to hide Lobo. But Hal Jordan, he knows that Batman, he's already figured out exactly where the best area would be to protect him. And Batman grunts and just tells them good luck as he walks away. Now, this is where we're taken to Gotham City a little bit later on. And Batman, he's kind of in a mood right now. Mr. Freeze, he's frozen a bunch of rich people of Gotham, and Alfred is going to call in some backup. But Batman, he wants to go in alone. He wants to deal with this on his own, and he doesn't wait for any help. He jumps in and wastes no time taking on Mr. Freeze. But Mr. Freeze lets him know that it's too late, that he's planted bombs all across the city already. Kind of freeze bombs that's gonna devastate Gotham. And this is where Alfred redirects Nightwing and the others to go find those locations and deactivate those bombs. Now, as this fight is commencing, we see it immediately broken up, because we see the arrival of Superman, and he's come to Gotham, and he easily dismantles and disarms Mr. Freeze like it is absolutely nothing. This fight is over as soon as Superman hit the scene. And Batman goes up and he grabs Mr. Freeze and starts to drag him away, and Superman wants to talk. He wants to talk to Batman, but Batman tells him not here, to meet him an hour from now. And that's what takes us to the Batcave. And Superman is making his way up to Batman and his giant terminal. And Clark lets him know that he's here to talk, Because at the end of the day, Bruce Wayne, he knows that Hal is right. Besides the fact that they should protect Lobo, the world needs this. If there's not going to be a Justice League, there needs to be some kind of force that is going to help protect the Earth. Take some of that weight off of Superman's shoulders. Now, Batman, he is not sure if they need some kind of space corps, but Clark would argue that it needs something. You know, the Corps would be working with heroes of Earth and even deputizing some of them as Green Lanterns. The Justice League is just too currently fragmented, and there's been too many near misses since the League had been disbanded. You know, Superman can't be everywhere. Now, Batman, he's kind of heard enough, and he tells him, you know, I've heard enough, I'm gonna get out of here. I have things to do and places to be. And he goes to get in his vehicle, and this is where we see Superman, you know, kind of just snap just a tiny bit. And we see Superman punch the crap out of the giant penny. And he lets him know, like, he's tried. He has tried his best. But it was Batman who got Martian Manhunter killed. It was Batman who sent their friend to his death. And he tells Bruce, you know, he's tired. He's just tired of fighting. He's tired of fighting his friends. You know, he wants just for one time to put aside their differences, ignore the beef that they have, and actually take care of what needs to be done here. And this is where Batman lets us know that Hal Jordan, he was right. Batman knew the best place to hide Lobo. And if they're gonna pull this off, they're gonna need to go to Apokolips. Alright guys, so as we dive into this issue, it picks us up before. It picks us up right in the middle of the battle with Darkseid and all of his forces. And we see the amazing Wonder Woman in all of her golden armor glory. And she is wielding her sword, striking down every enemy that comes her way. And as she is battling all of these forces, holding everybody off, this is where Granny comes flying in and jabs a spear into her side. With Wonder Woman screaming out in pain, she grabs her sword and she flings it behind her, decapitating Granny in one swing. And right now, she's trying to get in communication with Cyborg, because Cyborg, his mission right now is to evacuate Earth. Because right now, Darkseid is using the boom tubes to transport bombs all over the place. He has initiated his war with the universe. And Cyborg is believing that it's just near impossible. Nightwing chiming in and saying that it's the same in Gotham City. That there's just too many people. And Nightwing is actively working to get people underground, hoping that that might help if they don't do this in time. If they're not able to evacuate all of the people in time. And in the oceans, we see Arthur making his way to the Indian Ocean, because the marine life have let him know of something that is there, and he is feeling an electrical current, and he can only assume that it is a boom tube that has opened up. And as he's on his way there to stop whatever it is, we see him rise out of the water, only to see that he is too late. And the bomb, it's already dropping. And Cyborg is desperately trying to get a hold of Aquaman, but his comms go dead. We can only assume that the blast took out Aquaman. And Cyborg lets Batman know exactly what's going on, lets him know the situation, and lets him know that he currently can't get a hold of Arthur. And right now, Batman and Martian Manhunter are at Darkseid's control center. They're doing their best to try to decode this whole system. And what he's doing here is plugging in the relay so they can send it to Cyborg, so Cyborg can try and shut this all down. Because if they can shut down the boom tubes, then they might be able to stop this invasion, at least temporarily. It'll stop the bombs from dropping. And this is when Martian Manhunter lets Batman know that there are some parademons on their way, and there is also something else, something much darker that is headed for them. And he asks the question, if Cyborg can't break this, if he can't figure out the decoding, what is our plan? And for one of the first times ever, you hear Batman say, I don't know. And as they stand here and wait for whatever forces are coming, Batman tells Martian Manhunter that that door should be impenetrable. But there is one thing that can break through it. That one thing being Darkseid himself. And if he is here, there's no stopping him. But it shouldn't be Darkseid, because Darkseid is being tracked by Hal and Clark right now. And this is when Batman tries to get in communication with Superman, and trying to see if maybe Darkseid has shown up on Oa yet. Because that's where that's where Hal Jordan and that's where Superman are. And Superman lets him know that Darkseid has not gotten here yet. But his forces, they've gotten here and they have taken hold, and they are doing their best to hold off all of Darkseid's army. And Hal Jordan telling the Guardian that is by his side that he needs to get him and the rest of them off planet as soon as possible. And he even tells the Guardian, like, I told you this would happen. The Guardians left Apokolips unchecked for so long. The Guardians and their truce with all of Apokolips. And the Guardian, he tries to refute this, but also says, you know, if we didn't do this truce, then Darkseid would have come for us. But at this point, it just doesn't matter anymore because they're already here. That's happening right now, regardless of that truce ever existing. And so Hal Jordan, he asks the Guardian where the rest of his brothers are right now. And the Guardian tells him that they have all made it off planet, that he is the last one here. Now at this point, Superman is starting to worry that their attack on Oa might actually just be a distraction to move Clark away from the battle and have Darkseid attack another location. But this is where Batman, he's just as blunt as he can possibly be with Superman. And he tells him that Martian Manhunter and him, they're gonna sit and they're gonna hold this position as long as they possibly can. But he tells them that he has to stop Darkseid. He has to stop him from getting to the central battery. Because if he gets his hands on that battery, he will have more power than anybody knows what to do with, and there will be no way of ever stopping him. And in the midst of this conversation, Superman can feel the change in the air. He can feel the charge, and this is when he knows it. Darkseid has arrived. And we see Darkseid step out of the portal holding two Guardians dead in his hands, apologizing for his tardiness, but saying that he had some errands that he had to take care of. Now that's what will bring us to present day. And right now, our Justice League is making their way through space. And in custody, they have the one, the only, the notorious Lobo. And the Justice League has been tasked with keeping him protected until his trial has come. And as they're flying through space, Wally West is trying to have some kind of conversation with Batman. Because right now, he's really worried. Martian Manhunter has died, Superman has been blaming Batman for this, and now they are taking Lobo to the far reaches of the universe. They're taking Lobo to Apokolips. You know, this is the place where everything happened. This is where Martian Manhunter, this is where he died. But Batman, he believes that nobody will suspect hiding Lobo on Apokolips. And so, in theory, it's the best location to keep him protected. And Wally, you know, he gets it. He's like, I get it. I agree with you, but is all of this worth it? Because to do this, we need everybody's head in the game. And Wally West is really concerned that Clark Kent is just not there right now. Everything that has happened, and now they're returning to the scene of the crime, if you will. And so, Wally is super concerned on the mental state of Clark right now. And Batman tells Wally, you know, you can come with us and do this, but regardless of Clark being here or not, we're gonna do this mission. And Wally, realizing that he needs to walk away from this conversation, goes into the back of the ship where Lobo and Wonder Woman are. Wonder Woman keeping guard over him as they're making their trek to Apokolips. And as he goes back here, Lobo, you know, he kind of taunts him, lets him know that no, Batman's mad right now because he knows what they should do. They should chop Lobo up into little pieces and dump him into space. You know, that's what Lobo would do. That's what he thinks that they should do to him. Because at the end of the day, that is going to be the best thing for any of them, to ensure none of them get hurt in this endeavor. But this is where we see a conversation between Wonder Woman and Wally West. Because Wally, he's never been to Apokolips before. And so right now he's a little on edge. He's a little bit nervous. But Wonder Woman tells him that he should really count himself lucky. Because the Apokolips that she knows is a fiery hell landscape. The underworld come to the surface. A place of torture and torment, of terrors and disillusion. But where they're going, it's more of a skeleton of what once was. But Lobo chimes in and tells them, you know, they're all extremely dumb if they don't believe that Apokolips is still a death trap. And with that, Wally West checks in with Superman, because Superman and Jon Stewart are currently flying outside of the ship, kind of doing their outside security, while Hal Jordan, he has gone ahead so he can scout Apokolips to make sure that they're not going to run into any unpleasantries along their way. And even out here, Jon Stewart is trying to have a conversation with Clark because he's also worried. He's worried about all of this bad blood between the team right now. But Jon Stewart, he's really starting to believe that this bad blood that's between Superman and Batman, this bad blood is Superman fighting himself, feeling the guilt that he wasn't there to save Martian Manhunter. And Jon Stewart tries to tell him that Martian Manhunter, he made the choice, the choice that any of us would make. This is what it means to be a hero. But in the midst of their conversation, this is when they realize a ship is getting sucked into the black hole that they've been skirting along. One of its main thrusters have gone out, and it looks like they are about to be perished. They are about to be taken off the map. But in a split second, Superman rushes over and he grabs onto the ship, trying to push it away from the black hole. But even Superman is sitting here struggling, not sure if he is going to be able to push this ship out of this pool. This is when we see the arrival of Hal Jordan, and with the assistance of Jon Stewart, the three of them push this ship out of the pool of the black hole, telling them that they need to get to a location to find some repairs. Now, the issue with this is they were really trying to travel incognito. They were trying not to be detected by anybody. But the word is going to be out that 2 Green Lanterns just saved this entire ship. But these are the split-second decisions that we're talking about, that Jon Stewart was referring to when talking about Martian Manhunter. We saw Superman jump into action without thinking, because this is what they do. He took that risk not knowing what would happen, and Martian Manhunter did the same thing. But this is when Batman comes over the comms and lets them know that they're gonna be coming in hot, because they have arrived at Apokolips. And so far from the outside, it appears dormant. And Lobo chimes in with a good little laugh, lets them know that he usually loves doing the killing, but this time he's gonna sit back and watch as all of them die. As we begin to dive into this issue, they're making their approach on Apokolips. And as they land in the Dark Baron, they try to figure out what the best course of action is moving forward, because this is going to be the best location to spot their enemies coming at them. But Batman chose this spot specifically because this is somewhere they can keep Lobo imprisoned, because this place is the summer house, vacation house if you will, of Darkseid. Darkseid being Darkseid's chief torturer. And if anybody is going to have the capability to hold somebody like Lobo, it's going to be Darkseid's little torture chamber. And so as they get Lobo tucked away, they go ahead and have a little campfire, definitely against Batman's better wishes. Because even though Apokolips is pretty desolate at this point, they're not sure what wildlife may be out here still. And Batman doesn't want his position given away. But at the end of the day, everybody tells him to just lighten up. To lighten up and have a s'more. And while everybody is sitting around the fire, Hal Jordan, he is checking in with the Green Lantern Corps, trying to find out exactly what's going on with the United Planets. And right now at the United Planets, things are starting to get ugly. People, representatives, they want to know where Lobo is, because a lot of people, they want him to answer for his crimes. A lot of people are calling for Lobo's head. And they have some ex-Corps scouts out there looking for anybody that may cause some trouble. But as it stands, it's getting worse and worse. The situation is becoming even more dire there. So much so that some of these representatives, they started putting bounties on Lobo's head. And so right now, it's more the Justice League versus the universe. Because every bounty hunter in the entire universe is going to be coming down on him. Lobo has such a high price on his head, everybody is going to be on their way. And so with big days before them, everyone goes ahead and they go and lay down to get some rest for the days to come. Superman and Wonder Woman both staying awake, both having the ability to stay awake and not needing sleep. Batman tries to flex a little bit, saying that, he can fall asleep in 7 seconds and he only needs to operate on 2 hours of sleep, blah, 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 blah. But he goes to sleep. He goes in, he lays down, and usually he doesn't dream. Usually Batman has complete control over his subconscious. But this night he has a dream. He's a young boy, and Martian Manhunter is taking him somewhere. Looking very remnant of his childhood, of the alleyway where his parents were shot, this is where we see Martian Manhunter gunned down, and a young Bruce Wayne at his side, crying, pleading for him to come back, only to look up and the shooter is Batman himself. More or less a metaphor for Batman blaming himself for the death of Martian Manhunter. And Martian Manhunter, with his dying breath, telling Bruce Wayne that this is not his fault. That heroes die. This is the natural order of things. That there is nobody to blame other than Darkseid himself. And he tells him to save his energy, to save his anger, because they are all coming. There is a great evil coming, and it's going to take the entire league to stop it. And that's what will pick us up with the next morning. Hal Jordan in communication with Jessica and Kilowog, being informed that there are bounty hunters on their way. They're coming, and it's just a matter of time before they are there. They've got your location. Somehow this information was leaked, be it X-Corps scouts, whatever the case may be. They let too many people in on the information, and now the entire universe knows exactly where to find them. And with Batman coming out, just having that dream, he knows that this is something more than a dream. It could be someone telepathically messing with him, but he believes that it might actually be Martian Manhunter, though he doesn't tell the rest of the league this. He just says that it's a friend that came to him in a dream and warned him that this was going to happen. So they need to prepare for whatever kind of evil is headed their way. And of course, Batman, he already has a plan ready, locked and loaded. And his plan is to have him and Hal Jordan head over to Darkseid's control center. From there, they may be able to operate the planet's defensive system. And while they're doing that, Diana and Wally, they're gonna go protect Lobo, with Wally West being able to periodically scout the area and make sure that there's nobody close by that's going to try to ambush them. And then he wants John and Clark to head into space. And as he says this, Superman tells him no. We see them butt heads a little bit. Superman still has a very bitter taste in his mouth because of Martian Manhunter dying, and he doesn't believe that he should be away, but Wonder Woman steps in and puts them both in check. Tells them that they need to separate any kind of differences, that Batman needs to check himself, and Superman needs to act like he is the best of them. And so with everybody having their new missions, they all head out in their directions. Superman checking in back home on Earth, checking in with Cyborg and Nightwing, because Batman, being the paranoid individual that he is already concerned that this is all some kind of elaborate trap to lure the Justice League away from home base so they can initiate some kind of global attack. And while that may be a very slim possibility, it's one Batman is not willing to wager. And after he does his little check-in, Hal Jordan, he just asks, making sure everything's all good. But what's really interesting here is Batman telling him that the Justice League, they're not really needed anymore. Back home on Earth, there's enough individuals, there's enough heroes to be able to protect the planet. That the Justice League, more or less, they could die and Earth would be completely fine without them. That the next generation has finally stepped up, and the Justice League of yesterday, they are no longer a necessity to the survival of Earth. But this is where we pick up with Wally West doing his little roundabouts, trying to see if there's anybody coming in close, with Superman protecting Lobo. And Lobo's trying to get inside his head, because as it stands, Lobo knows that Superman is not going to be able to walk away from this with his hands clean. Superman is already thinking that he's going to have to probably get his hands a little bit dirty if they're going to be able to come out on top on this one. And we may see a different side of Superman, especially after losing Martian Manhunter. He may go to the extreme to ensure that he doesn't lose anybody else on the Justice League team. And with everybody getting into position, Batman working to break into Darkseid's control center up in space, John Stewart and Wonder Woman, they are met by what looks to be some kind of giant blockade, more than likely an armada of bounty hunters making their way to collect Lobo. And getting into their final positions, our Justice League is ready for the fight of their lives. Alright gang, so our story is picking us up in the past, with that last mission that caused them to disband. That mission where Martian Manhunter dies. And right now, the battle is waging. The war on Apokolips is taking place. And Martian Manhunter and Batman, they have barricaded themselves inside the control room, doing anything they can to try and stop the bombs from teleporting, transported by the boom tubes, kind of sending what they call boom nukes. And the plan is for these to drop on Oa and take out the central battery. Not only that, but they are also targeting Earth. So there are multiple fronts being fought in multiple places. And Batman, being his brilliant-minded self, he gets an idea. And as he goes to the operations table and starts working, trying to figure out exactly what he needs to do, this is when Caliban comes into the room, smashing through the door, and Martian Manhunter goes toe-to-toe with him. And so as they are currently getting overrun, Batman, he calls to Wonder Woman, telling her that they need some kind of backup. But as it stands, Wonder Woman, she is in really bad shape right now, letting her know that they can't shut down the boom nukes. But what they can do is cut the entire power supply. They can cut all of the power to all of Apokolips, shut down the entire planet from its core. But the only issue is he needs somebody to go into the hatch and manually open up this door. Opening up this hatch will let it all drain. Let all of the power all out of Apokolips and out into space. The only issue is Wonder Woman is too badly injured to go out and do this. And so Martian Manhunter, he tells Batman that he will do it, that he'll go out and fight this. He'll go out and do what is absolutely necessary. Now, Superman, currently fighting on Oa against Darkseid, he tells Martian Manhunter that he can't do this. He can't because his weakness is fire, and if Martian Manhunter is to do this, he will die. And Superman says that he will do it, but Oa is too far away. Superman would never make it in time, and this is their only option. Now, Superman, he's fighting Darkseid. He is going toe-to-toe with him while completely distracted with all of this going on. And so, of course, Darkseid is going to get the upper hand. And so we see Darkseid do exactly that. He starts to take the upper hand. Even with the help of Hal Jordan, it doesn't look like Superman is going to be able to help anybody, to be able to come to the rescue for anything. And Batman and Martian Manhunter both knowing that Superman can't make it in time. Martian Manhunter knows exactly what he needs to do. And we see Batman and him shake hands. They say their last goodbyes, and Batman, he apologizes to him. Because at the end of the day, Batman truly does wish he could find another way. This isn't the route he wants to go. This is just the most efficient route he knows to be able to end this right here and right now before those nukes are able to make it to other planets. And so with that, we see Martian Manhunter, he goes out into the sky and he makes his way across Apokolips. On the other side of the universe on Oa, Superman is just getting his butt whooped because he is too distracted. He is too fixated on not letting Martian Manhunter go do this. And the whole time, Hal Jordan is struggling. He is struggling so freaking hard here. But Martian Manhunter, he finds the tunnel. He finds a tunnel and he finds this hatch. Now, this hatch is only meant to keep out heat. So theoretically, he should be able to break it open by just straight brute strength alone. And as Superman pleads and begs Bruce not to let him do this, to find some other kind of way, Hal Jordan is begging for Superman's help, begging him to get his head in the game, because Hal Jordan is getting overrun by Darkseid, telling him that they need to save Oa. They need to save the central battery. But Martian Manhunter, he tells them it's all okay. Like, we all live knowing that this is a possibility, that this comes with the job. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is the ultimate sacrifice, and Martian Manhunter is more than willing to do this. But Superman, he can't do it. He cannot sit here idly by and watch one of his friends just completely kill himself. And so we see Superman blast off into the sky, leaving Hal Jordan to fight freaking Darkseid by himself. and Superman moving as fast as he possibly can through space, trying to get there in time, trying to prevent Martian Manhunter from making the sacrifice. But Superman is not fast enough. He does not get there in time. And we see Martian Manhunter, he opens up this hatch. And opening up this hatch, a giant fiery blast comes pouring out of this planet, shooting off into space. Superman able to see this from the distance he is at. Everybody seeing this, and they are just heartbroken. And so a lot happens here. And I don't know if I completely agree with Superman flying off like that. I don't feel like that's something Superman would do. Like, granted, I get one of his friends is in danger. I know that one of them are about to make a sacrifice. But him leaving Hal Jordan to fight Darkseid by himself, I think that's the most ridiculous thing in the whole freaking world. Like, why would you ever, like, you're trying to go rescue somebody that's sacrificing themselves, and in doing this, you're leaving someone like Hal Jordan to face against Darkseid completely alone. So either way, somebody's not gonna win in this. Somebody is going to end up dying. And so it's just a matter of which individual do you want to let die. And really, it looks like Superman just said, you know, F you, Hal Jordan. I'm gonna go rescue Martian Manhunter. You take on one of the most powerful beings in the universe by yourself. No big deal. But that's what's gonna take us to present day. And right now, John Stewart and Wonder Woman are standing against an armada that is here to collect some kind of bounty on Lobo. Or at least that's what it appears to be. And with Apokolips now being offline, there is no real line of defense except for our heroes. And though they try a little bit of diplomacy, it does not work. They immediately start attacking, and so John Stewart and Wonder Woman, they jump into action trying to shut down all of these ships without taking any lives. And that's when we pick up with Batman and Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan now currently fused with the central battery. He is literally a walking power battery at this point. And Batman is hoping that they can use him to kind of jumpstart Apokolips again. And walking in this place, it's very hard for Batman, because the last time he was here, it was with Martian Manhunter. And Batman, you know, he kind of blames himself. Superman definitely blames him, but that could be just projecting, because Superman, you know, at the same time, he blames himself. He blames himself for not being fast enough, for not being here to be able to be in multiple places at one time. But the truth of the matter is, Batman knows that Superman blames him, because Batman should have been 2 steps ahead. That way he could have led them to the right place. Superman blames him, and Batman believes he is right to do so. And this is when we're taken to Superman and the Flash, currently keeping eyes on Lobo. And Lobo, really, he's just trying to get into their heads. He's really trying to mess with them, manipulate them, and make them think that they are all in the wrong. And what he really tells us is that he didn't murder the new gods. He is not a murderer. He is simply a bounty hunter. He gets paid to do things. And his client hired him to get the new gods and bring them before him. But of course, he is not gonna divulge who his client is. At least not yet. And that's when we pick up with John Stewart and Wonder Woman, currently battling the best they can out in space. And as they are fighting off all of these forces, this is when somebody punches Wonder Woman with a ginormous fist. Wonder Woman looking up to see the one and only Mongol. And so it looks like this is something much bigger than just a few bounty hunters making their way here to try to rescue Lobo, to try to get him for whatever reason. Some people want to kill him, some people want to save him, but it appears that there is something much bigger at play here, especially with Mongols showing up. And picking up with Superman and the Flash, Superman is finally starting to piece things together, because there have been superstitions that the Green Lantern Corps has been looking into. It was thought that whoever hired Lobo wanted to take over the New Gods planet of New Genesis. But Hal made sure that that wouldn't happen. With the help of the United Planets, they stepped up and they protected the planet and its people. And so they had the biggest murder in the universe, and there was absolutely no follow-up. And this is when Wally, he's finally like, man, this feels like a trap. Like, I'm not Batman, I'm not a detective, but it feels like all of this is just a ploy to get us here. And this is when Superman looks on the horizon only to see what appears to be Mad Max style vehicles making their way towards him, and leading this entire charge is none other than freaking Cyborg Superman. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 5 of 8, we are picking up with Superman and the Flash. With Superman letting Flash know exactly what is headed in their direction. They jump into action and he tells the Flash, Maneuver 39. And Superman flying up to the sky, he comes down and he comes down with a fury. With the Flash working behind him, whirlwinding as fast as he can possibly go, shooting all of this dust, all of these rocks, all of this debris directly towards this army headed towards them. Now obviously this isn't going to stop them. This is merely going to slow them down. And with all of these forces, these bounty hunters, everything descending upon them, Superman says that they're going to need some help and they're going to need it soon. And over at the command center, we have Hal Jordan and we have Batman. Hearing this distress call, Batman gets to work trying to get into the system. He does it by having Hal Jordan power it up, and he goes to crack the code. Not being able to do it before, he knows that he could do it this time. And his goal is to be able to open up some boom tubes and really shoot these guys across the universe. And while all of this is going on, Hal Jordan, he looks over his shoulder to see what appears to be some kind of doorway possibly opening up. Meanwhile, up in the stars, we have Wonder Woman, we have Mongol, and we have John Stewart. And we see them beating the crap out of one another. But what is really important here is the dialogue that is going on. Because as it stands, the entirety of the Justice League, they believe Mongol and his armada, they believe that they are here to collect the bounty on Lobo. Now, of course, Mongol, he has no interest in this. He doesn't care about a little bit of cash when all of Apokolips is up for grabs. Whatever resources are here, that is exactly what they came for. The only thing is, someone led him here. Not saying who, but saying sources told him that there were still vital resources on this planet that could be scavenged. And with them beating the crap out of him, with them kicking him into space because his jetpack is now offline, they get in contact with Superman and let him know that he was sent here by somebody. Now some may say, even Superman, that Brainiac is above getting into these politics and all of these bounty hunter stuff. But what he is trying to do here is trying to make it look like the United Planets is just ineffective. Make it look like they can't actually take care of things. And with the United Planets no longer being in the good graces of the people, with them no longer having faith in that establishment, that's where Brainiac plans to step in and take over the reins. But it appears that Brainiac is even working with someone himself, saying that he was promised the Justice League's head on a platter. Now back inside, back with Hal Jordan and Batman, Hal Jordan has done his best to fortify this wall, unsure of what this means, unsure of what is on the other side. But they can only assume what is on the other side is definitely not going to be a good day. And getting a glimpse inside, as we look inside of this place, what appears to be some kind of cloning farm. And this is definitely not the clone they wanted to see. Now that's what's going to take us to the past. Currently picking up on Oa, the Guardians on the ground appearing to be dead around Hal Jordan, with Darkseid just laying waste. His main objective is to get the central battery, to take the Green Lantern's power. Once the Green Lanterns are done, the entire universe will be his. And Superman, he made his exit. He took off, leaving Hal Jordan here to fight by himself against freaking Darkseid. But Hal Jordan, he fights the best he can, with Darkseid shooting his Omega beams, going every which direction. Hal Jordan is doing his best to keep up by blocking them with all of his light constructs. But with Darkseid being done toying around with the Green Lanterns, he's going to take what he came to claim. And picking up on Apokolips, we have Superman arriving, but Superman arrives too late. Martian Manhunter has already sacrificed himself. He did this in an attempt to shut down Apokolips, and it worked. With Apokolips shutting down, Superman makes his way over to Batman, and he immediately starts pointing fingers, immediately starts blaming Batman, saying that he killed Martian Manhunter. And of course, Batman logically trying to tell him that that's simply not the case. That Martian Manhunter, he saw an opportunity to save and end all of this right now. And though it took him sacrificing himself, Batman understood exactly what Martian Manhunter was going to do, why he was going to do it, and he was not going to stand in his way. And this is where we see Wonder Woman. She comes to interject to tell them that her sisters are out there dying on the battlefield right this minute. That none of them have time for them to argue and squalor over what happened. That they can mourn tomorrow. That they have a war to fight today. And as they charge onto the battlefield, with Steppenwolf laying waste to Amazons, Wonder Woman, she takes her sword and she drives it right through his back. And as our Trinity, they battle the forces of Apokolips. Back on Oa, Darkseid is having the central battery within his grasp. Making his way up the staircase, he goes to take its power. Now Hal Jordan, he tries to let him know that he doesn't understand the power that he is messing with. That if he is going to do this, it will very likely kill everybody. And of course for Darkseid, that is the plan. That has always been the plan. And Hal Jordan, he tells him that he's just too blind. That he wants all of this power. That he lacks the willpower, that the understanding to understand the consequences of this situation. And with Darkseid beginning to absorb power from the central battery, Hal Jordan refuses to be defeated. He refuses to give up this power to Darkseid. And we see Hal Jordan, he charges in not at Darkseid, but at the battery, hitting it with everything he has. He is attempting to break it, refusing to give Darkseid this kind of power. He'd rather end all of Oa right here and right now. And as he goes charging in, we see the central battery, it starts to crack. And as he makes contact, this is where we see the green mushroom cloud go up into the sky, blasting out in all directions. This very well could be the end of Oa. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we're picking up with Batman realizing this is Darkseid's backup plan. All of these clones here waiting in stasis. Fortunately for the Justice League, Darkseid, he had been defeated on Oa. And we see Batman making his way over to the computer, having access to some of the greatest technologies in the entirety of the universe. They are going to use this to try to protect themselves. But this is when Batman realizes he has been duped. He has been tricked, because this was all the ploy of Darkseid. And with Batman looking over his shoulder, this is where he sees Green Lantern Hal Jordan. But this isn't actually Hal Jordan. Darkseid has taken over his body. Whatever happened on Oa when the central battery exploded, we believe that Hal Jordan had become the embodiment of the power battery. But it appears that is not the case. Something happened where Darkseid was able to take Hal Jordan over. And this entire time, he has been playing the Justice League, bringing all these hordes of enemies down on him, creating this entire situation to lure the Justice League back to Apokolips, luring them directly to his doorstep. That way they could all be there for his resurrection. They could all be there to watch Darkseid rise. And with Darkseid transferring over into one of his clones, with the Green Lantern Corps crest on his chest, we have Darkseid Green Lantern, with Hal Jordan falling to the ground completely powerless. With all communication being blocked from Batman, he cannot get word out that Darkseid is back. Meanwhile, on the surface, everything is going sideways. Superman recognizing that this is a trap, but that doesn't stop him from trying to take on this cyborg Brainiac. But what Superman did not expect was a kryptonite knife. With Brainiac and cyborg Superman becoming one, they gain the knowledge that kryptonite is going to be what cripples Superman. And we see them slice him across the chest. Looking like this might be the end of Superman, this is where we see Wonder Woman and John Stewart make their entrance. Taking care of Mongol and all of his forces, they've come back down to the surface. They have come to fight the fight. And with them doing everything they can to hold off these forces, from Cyborg Brainiac to Vril Dox, Brainiac 2. But it looks like they are being overpowered. The Justice League is barely able to hang on. With Superman wounded by kryptonite, we see Darkseid rise. Coming out of the laboratory, this opens up communication for Batman, and he lets all of the Justice League know that they have a problem. And with Darkseid going up to the sky, we see him activate the Green Lantern powers. And using the power of the ring, we see him completely reactivate Apokolips. And at this point, the Justice League is obviously realizing that they have been duped, that this was all a trick, and that they have been lured here to see the rebirth of Apokolips. And with a bright, burning green flame, we see Apokolips come back to life. And with it coming back online, we see thousands of light constructs coming up. All of Darkseid's minions have risen, and now they are on the warpath. With Batman still in the laboratory, he grabs Hal Jordan and he tries to get out of there as fast as he can, because this is about to self-destruct. And with Superman coming in with the assist, letting them know that nobody else is going to die today, instructing John Stewart to go rescue Lobo before they come for him. Now at this point, the Justice League, they need to regroup. Everything has gone sideways on them. They had no idea that they were being led into a trap. And so securing Lobo, they are able to take a timeout. They're able to set to the side and really figure out what their next course of action is. And we learned that Lobo's bounty was to bring the Justice League here. This was all in fact a job for him to do. Not only that, it also lures out all the individuals that want Lobo dead. Kind of a two birds, one stone kind of situation for Lobo. He's really coming out on top because he was hired to bring the Justice League here. Bringing everybody else, that's just kind of an added bonus. Simultaneously, the Justice League are also getting the opportunity to take these guys out for Lobo. Now, Batman, more than anybody, he understands Lobo. And when Lobo says that he is going to do a job, he gets that job done. Now, his job with Darkseid, it's complete. And so currently, he is up for hire. And Batman is going to capitalize on this. And he offers him 2 million credits to help the Justice League take down all of the mercenaries and everyone that stands in their way. Because Lobo, he may be a bad guy, he may be the guy that Justice League just does not like. But Lobo always keeps his word, especially when it comes to a bounty. That's how he keeps his work going. That's why he always gets hired. And so with them releasing Lobo, Batman tells them that Superman and Wonder Woman need to be the ones to take on Darkseid, because it is his willpower that is generating the parademons. Now we see Darkseid reigning over everything right now, believing that this is his final act. This is the last moments. This is where the Justice League are gonna meet their demise. And he is resurrected Granny Goodness. And of course, her first thought is to open up the boom tubes, get those open back up, headed towards Earth, and finish what they originally had started. But before anything else can happen, we see Wonder Woman and Superman make their arrival. With them coming in hot, we see Wonder Woman take on Granny Goodness, and Superman goes straight for Darkseid, only to get caught and knocked for a loop. With him being currently wounded by the kryptonite blade, he is much weaker, he is not at the top of his game, and so Darkseid is easily able to knock him across the way. Meanwhile, the rest of the Justice League are doing everything they can to take on the forces that are here to hunt down Lobo, with Lobo now on their side, maybe having a fighting chance. But the odds are not looking in their favor, and we see Superman come crashing down onto the battlefield, with Cyborg Brainiac going after him, with Wonder Woman taking on Granny Goodness. She gets stopped dead in her tracks by Darkseid. Using light constructs, he wraps her up. Wrapping up Wonder Woman, it looks like it may be the end of Diana Prince. But from the center of Apokolips, this is where we hear a voice telling Darkseid that he will not outrun justice. And that voice is from the one and only Martian Manhunter. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with Martian Manhunter, and we learn that for quite some time, his consciousness has been sitting inside the planet. And if it were not for Darkseid bringing Apokolips back to life with the power from Oa, then Martian Manhunter may have never lived again, at least in a physical type form, even if that form is technically a light construct. And Martian Manhunter, he wastes absolutely no time going in on Darkseid, and as him and Wonder Woman are doing their absolute best to try to whoop some Darkseid butt, at the end of the day, this is Darkseid. And so while they may be powerful, he may be full of Owen energy, they are still gonna have their butts handed to them. And so while they try valiantly to hold him off long enough for Superman, Batman, and everyone else to join in together, that's where we pick up with Superman, currently facing off against Brainiac, who has taken over the body of Cyborg Superman, wielding a blade that is laced with kryptonite. He is going in for the attack. He is going in for the kill. He is going to try to end Superman right here and right now. And with Superman having kryptonite currently in his system, he is in a very weak state. And he thinks to himself, we should have seen this coming. We should have seen all of this planned out, but Darkseid, he tricked all of us. He even tricked Batman, one of the smartest individuals to ever live. And Batman looks over to see Brainiac going full speed after Superman. With Batman jumping into the way, grabbing hold of him, they go tumbling in the opposite direction. Batman implanting some kind of small device into the chest. And he tells Superman to use his heat vision, and mustering up what power he still has right now, trying to rid his body of the kryptonite, he sends a blast hurling in the direction of Cyborg Superman. And so by all appearances, this takes down Brainiac. But it came at a huge cost, and that is because Batman currently has a knife sticking out of his side. And with Superman rushing over to his side to check on him to see how he is, Batman lets him know that he couldn't simply let Superman die, because how furious would Superman would he be at him if he let that happen. And so while this is all going on the ground, we see John Stewart recognize Martian Manhunter. Not believing his own eyes, he rushes over there to protect him, to see and make sure that this is real, that this is actually Martian Manhunter, and that he is here now as a light construct. And so John Stewart tells them that they should do what they have always done, to work together, to work as one. And we see John Stewart inside of Martian Manhunter. We can only assume that this is amplifying both of their abilities. And so while they make their frontal attack against Darkseid, we have Hal Jordan, who feels betrayed by himself, feeling like he was just duped, he was tricked this entire time, that he was used as a weapon, used as a tool against his friends. But now it is no longer time to be on the sidelines. It is time to get back into this fight. And that's what takes us to Lobo and Wonder Woman. Now Lobo, he was hired to do a job by the Justice League, and that was to help them out, take out all of Darkseid's little minion forces that he has going on here. And that's exactly what the main man does. With his job being done, with his contract now being complete, he wants his payment. And so he goes to Wonder Woman to get it, but she immediately takes her sword and she beheads him. Now, this doesn't kill the main man, it's just gonna take a while for his body to grow back. Wonder Woman, she knew this, believing they should have probably done this from the very get-go. This is a way to keep him under control, keep him right here until all of this is over so they can go make him stand trial. What all of this was for to begin with. Now, Wonder Woman and the Flash, they hurry over to Batman and Superman, seeing Batman on the ground, a knife wound in his stomach, not wanting to remove it for fear that it will continue to bleed everywhere. Not only that, up in the sky, we are seeing all of the boom tubes open up, and Darkseid is getting ready to drop all of his boom nukes. Specifically, he is going to destroy Earth. And then he is going to take over the rest of the universe. And so we are seeing the ascension of Apokolips. But before that can happen, we see the arrival of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And following behind him is every Justice League member that he has ever met in the form of a light construct. And this is when the real battle begins. As we see this battle play out of epic proportions, the light constructs everywhere are battling one another. Darkseid's light constructs versus the Justice Leagues. And so as this battle rages on, Martian Manhunter, he recognizes that Batman has been stabbed. And Martian Manhunter, recognizing that he will be able to help Batman, he rushes down there, leaving John Stewart to battle with all of the others. And as he gets down there, he tells them that he can control this bleeding. He can take the knife out and take care of Batman. But this fight right now, it needs Superman. That he can't be sitting here by the side of Bruce Wayne. He needs to go out there and he needs to end all of this right here and right now. And so Superman and Wonder Woman, they go flying off, charging full speed into battle. Now, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, they are both up in the air doing their best to take on Darkseid, take on all of these light constructs. The only issue is this is not working. While they are fighting very valiantly, they are not able to take over Darkseid's forces. Not only that, the boom nukes are about to be dropped. And so they have to think of something, and they have to think of it fast. And so Hal Jordan, dissipating all of his light constructs, not being able to focus all of his energy on keeping them up, he turns his energy to stopping these nukes from going into the tubes. In doing this, it temporarily holds Darkseid in place. That gives Superman and Wonder Woman the opportunity of a lifetime. Both of them coming in at full speed, and they both give Darkseid the hugest uppercut you have ever seen. And so with Darkseid taking a huge hit, with him getting shot back, he's recognizing that this may not be his opportunity, that he more than likely has lost this battle. And so as we see him fly off into the sky, Hal Jordan refuses to let Darkseid go. Superman tells him to wait, but nothing is stopping Hal Jordan. Grabbing all of the boom nukes, he trails them behind him as he is in hot pursuit of Darkseid, with Darkseid looking behind him to see only Hal Jordan following in pursuit. Darkseid goes to make a snide remark about how he might kill him again, but Hal Jordan lets him know that that's not gonna happen, not this time. And he throws every one of these nukes directly at Darkseid, and we see a giant explosion. And with Hal Jordan flying away, with the Justice League seeing this giant explosion up in the sky, we can only assume that that was the end of Darkseid. And as Hal Jordan comes back down to the ground, he tells Superman, I couldn't just leave him and let him go flying off to cause more trouble later on. He literally used me against the Justice League. It almost killed everybody here. And so for that, he had to pay. We had to put a stop to Darkseid once and for all. But even Superman tells him that it's okay, that now that it is all over, they can finally go home. And that's what picks us up 1 month later. At the United Planets Assembly, Lobo is currently being put on trial. And so with justice finally being served, moreover, we have the Green Lantern Corps that is getting a new clean slate. With the United Planets recognizing Apokolips as new Oa, they can finally start to rebuild. But they're not going to build it like before. You know, they had the Guardians as they end all be all of all conversations. but they're gonna make it different. They're gonna make a council. Now, right now, the Green Lantern Corps, the numbers are dwindled and they are very low. And so as they get more members, they will create a much bigger council, with one Guardian being left alive to protect New Oa. The Green Lantern Corps is going to be made up of members. The council would be made up of members of the Green Lantern Corps. And so this is a new bright day for the Green Lantern Corps. Now, picking up with the Trinity, we have Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. And they are sitting around the table discussing everything that has taken place, what divided them in the first place, and what brought them to the current day. And Batman lets them know that for a long time he believed that the Justice League worked because of the immense amount of power that they all had. But the Justice League, they exist because they trust one another, and that trust had been lost for quite some time. But after this battle, after the defeat of Darkseid, that trust has been renewed. Not only that, but their shared knowledge of what is right. And though Batman, he's extremely paranoid all of the time, both Diana and Clark, they know that Batman trusts them, and they trust him as well. And in the midst of this conversation, this is when we see Martian Manhunter, still standing as a light construct, now currently bound to Apokolips or New Oa for the rest of eternity. He lets them know that his heart will always reside with the Justice League, letting them know that they are all in agreement that disbanding the Justice League was a terrible idea, that this world, this universe, it needs the Justice League. And if they have learned anything, is that corruption and evil, they exist out in this world. Not just Earth, not just the galaxy, but the universe. And there are people out there that are needing help. And so they're no longer just Americans. They're no longer just international. They are rebranding themselves, and they have become Justice League Universal. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. For a 7-issue run, it definitely was not bad. It was a lot of fun. You know, we saw the death of Martian Manhunter, but then we saw his resurrection as a living energy source of Oa. His consciousness fusing with the planet, fusing with that green Owen energy, the same energy that powers the Green Lantern rings. And though he may be bound to New Oa and Apokolips, we can only imagine the extent of what his powers truly are, or what they could become. And so the storytelling throughout this whole thing has been really well done by Chip Zdarsky. You know, we're really seeing a huge divide happen between the Justice League, but an event so catastrophic that it makes them recognize that this world, this universe, it needs the Justice League. Not only does it need it, we have to be out there actively protecting and stopping evil and corruption at any point that it arises. And so with our Justice League members finding new hope in one another, we see them taking on the task of the entire universe, with Hal Jordan and John Stewart working actively to rebuild the Green Lantern Corps. A new day has dawned for the Justice League, and I can only hope that we see some kind of Justice League Universal in the near future by Chip Zdarsky. That would be absolutely amazing to see. As always, the artwork in this has been absolutely phenomenal. I loved everything when it came to Martian Manhunter. Seeing him as that light construct was simply amazing. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.